What's up, my Fishin-atics? Alright, so check it out. Y'all know what day today is, right? No, it's not Monday. I wish it was Friday. However, it's Tacklebox Tuesday. And we are here today to help you out, save some money, and make your gear better. So what we're going to do today is we're going to learn how to make our own popping cork rig. Okay, if you have seen my other videos on the DIYs, you know that I typically have some of this equipment laying around because I like to buy stuff. You know, bulk's always cheaper, right? So, first things we're going to do is we're going to go check out some bought ones, check out a homemade one, see if y'all can guess it out. If you are, or you can, drop a comment. First one that drops the right comment, I'm going to message you, and what we'll do is I'll give you something special. Alright? So, without further ado, let's see what we got rolling. Alright, so here you can see we have 3 different popping corks, 3 different lengths, but can you guess which one is homemade? Because we have both our H&H tackle, coastal tackle brand, both are mono, both have the beads, different lengths, same type of clasp swivel I typically use. Then this one has a different clasp swivel, and this one over here has another different clasp swivel, but this one is wire. So, which one do you think is homemade? Because like I said, they're all different lengths, all different sizes, and different weights. So, drop a comment below, see if you guess right, and if you guess right, I will comment on yours, and I will send you something special. Check it out. Let's get to. Alright, so here are the supplies you're going to need. Obviously, this goes without saying, the popping cork. You're going to need some heavy duty type line, some mono, or you can use wire. I have both. This is an important one. You're going to need an egg sinker. However, keep in mind that the weight of the sinker must complement the size of the float, because you can ask Junior that he thought that the 1 ouncer would work with a similar looking size float, but the popping cork was a little bit too small, so when he casted it in, it just went boop and slowly sank. Alright, and so you need your crimps along with the line, and then you need your beads. The color doesn't really matter. You only need 2. One to sit on top, on the bottom of the popping cork, and one to sit on the top to stop it from the weight and the opening here, the plastic plug, to stop that from banging into the crimps, so it doesn't bust off. Now, this is what I would normally use. Would be just, you know, 1. So a barrel swivel and your clasp swivel. Doesn't matter which kind you use. All that is doing is just holding on your little weight, or your leader, sorry. However, if you want to get fancy about it, you can double it up. Take this bad boy out and double up the clasp swivel, so that way if you typically keep a main line on your, or a barrel swivel on your main line, then you go ahead, clip it, and then clip your, whichever one, doesn't matter, put it on top or the bottom, and then you could use this for your leader line. Now, I only use a certain limited amount of line to go through the cork for the simple fact of attaching the leader to the bottom, and I'll show you why in a second. This will be too easy to make. Alright, one thing I did want to show you though is not, and this is what I say in a lot of my videos, not all equipment is made the same. Not everything will stand up. It's not all created equal. Unlike everyone under God's green earth, fishing equipment is not created equal. So check this one out. I already showed you those rigs, the store-bought and homemade ones. If you haven't guessed, now's your time. So with these, I just showed them to you. I want you to take a look at something special. Alright, so got your beads. Doesn't matter which kind it is. Got your rig. But here's one thing I want to show you. Everybody's going to say, oh yeah, it's the same thing. Look closely. Look closely. Remember, not all stuff is created equal. Because if you look from here and flip it around as the mono bounces everywhere, you can tell the egg sinker is different. This is a 1/2. This is a whole ounce. Both same brand of popping corks, however one is a little bit shorter than the other. Okay, that being said, make sure you, like I said earlier, you use the weight that complements your float. So let's get into it. All right, easy peasy. Let's check it out. First thing we do, grab our main line. All right, and like I do with all my other rigs and leaders, is I will go ahead and start from the top. So take your core, or take your main line. I am using right now, this is 140 pound test fluoro or mono. Not sure which one it is because I just took it out of the bucket and snipped it because I had some extra laying around. So I figured, you know, if I got extra stuff, let's make some gear just in case I need it. Now, take this, take your crimps like I showed you earlier, go ahead, slide it on, give yourself a little bit of space, and then you're going to go ahead and take your snap swivel and take it through. Don't waste lines, so we got this right here. I take it and I pull it just a little tight. You can see that it still has room to wiggle around. Alright, take our crimpers, find the right groove, crimp it down nice and tight. There we go. Here's your bottom half. Now, if you noticed, one thing I did want to point out, this is only about 18 inches long. Okay, you do not need a long popping cork. Okay, or long, because you'll see some, like this one is pretty long. It's about, what, 2.5 feet. And then you got your class swivel. This one over here is only maybe 1.5 feet. This one over here, if I undo it, it's about 2.5 feet. Okay, so 2 feet-ish. Reason why I say you don't need it very long is because you got to remember this. This is only for floating. It's not your leader. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to have extra leader line. I'll show you why. because if you have one that's shorter like this compared to one of these that's longer, what's going to happen is either you're going to be stuck putting your hook on this, which obviously is, you know, not the best or not the ideal hook placement, because this is going to be in the water, it's going to be showing on your bait or your lure, whatever you have. Really hope you're using bait, not lures. Now, or you're going to be tying an extra little bit of leader to this. So, you know, you're really just ultimately making more hassle for yourself. And you got to remember, wherever the weight is where you're going to be casting it from. So, with these, and especially something like this, I'm kind of giving you a hint here. I'll even throw this one out here. With the mono, such a smaller type, saltwater, sun, dry rot, things over time. Mono has memory. Wire also has memory. See that bend? So you want to decrease the amount of memory in your line. I know nobody wants to decrease the memory on anything unless it's like a traumatic event. So, but in this case you do, because what you want to do is you want to have positive control of where that weight goes. That's why I only made this about 1.5 feet, because once you put this on, like so, it'll be hanging down, and wherever your weight is, typically when I'm casting, I will have my weight around or about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet down. For when I cast, I just got a good whip to it. And that being said, you don't want this in the water just bouncing, because what's going to happen is fish are going to be pecking at this. It's going to bite the hook, take your bait. You're not even going to know, because you're going to have to try and figure out, man, how do I get maybe you'll be thinking of, how do I get a weight good enough to hold this, right? Well, you're going to try and find some split shot, but even a split shot weight is something like this, or even with the wire, the split shot is not going to hold it down tight enough unless you have a heavy piece of bait. So that's why I say go with shorter length popping cork main lines, because the weight is, like I said, the memory of the line is going to kill you. And also, with that being said, you have at the bottom of your popping cork a little bit more room to play with. What I mean by that is you can tie your leader line to it. You can even have a preset leader to be positioned however many feet down or whatever depth of the species of fish you're looking for, like, you know, speckled trout, stuff like that. Sand trout are pretty much everywhere, but depending on where in the water column your target species is the reason why I say go short, because you can always make your leader line longer, and you don't want to have your clasp and this much leader line to get into that sweet spot of the water column, because it's just more work than anything. But I digress. I know I went off on a tangent. However, it was a purposeful tangent, and it's actually a pretty good tip. So, we have already crimped our snap swivel on. Next step, take a bead. Remember what I said earlier. There we go. Okay. You want to place a bead in between each hard object, because that weight or the popping cork in itself will bang against the crimp, and then you don't want this light plastic, not very strong. You don't want that popping off, breaking, because if you notice that 90% of the corks, or a lot of them, have like this line in it, or you pop it, then it's going to be floating up if you break the plastic in the middle. So your bait's going to keep sinking down, feeding the line through here, and it's going to keep taking out line. You're going to be getting hits, and this isn't going to do anything. All right, so back to work. I know it's taking forever, but I'll show you how easy it is done after I stop talking your head off. Crimp, snap, swivel, bead. Take your weight or your sinker, whatever you call it. Slide that on. Another bead, whatever color your heart desires. Okay, so we go. We use this bead again, like I said, as our buffer, and then we take our main line and feed it through the top of popping cork. We're good there. And then we take our last bead, and if I can find, there we go, so sparkly. Okay, we're all set. We got everything we need right here, almost. Now what you want to do is you want to kind of figure out, always leave yourself a little bit extra to toy with, because you can always cut shorter, you can't cut longer. All right, my mom was a hairdresser, so that's what I learned, especially when she was practicing. All right, that's one thing she taught me, if anything. I remember spending days at the beauty shop, but I'm not going to go into my childhood. So I want to have this to be about 1.5 feet, so I get it measured, eyeball it, whatever. Take your next crimp, slide it on, take your barrel swivel, slide it on. You find where you want to be, so I say this is about good right here. Go ahead, slide that back through, just like that leader video I showed you before. Alright, you want to conserve line, but you don't, it all costs money, but you don't need to make it too tight, otherwise you're going to get this, and it's not going to be positive action. It doesn't really do anything, so give it a little room on the loop, so that way every room on the loop gives it a little more play in the water, so whatever bait you have will create a more natural appearance. So as I'm talking, I'm crimping, and aesthetic purposes, go ahead, pop off that little bit. We are done. Done. That easy. So we have our barrel swivel at the top, bead, popping cork, bead, weight, bead, crimp, snap swivel. That easy. Talking was most of the video. Now if I were to do this at regular speed, it would take me all of maybe 2 minutes. But I do thank you guys for listening in and watching and subscribing, liking, all that good stuff. If you got any friends that like fishing, you got friends that like veterans, definitely go ahead, share this with them, to obviously subscribe, watch the videos, drop me some likes, drop me some comments, share it with all your buddies, because like I said, said it before, this channel is for, it's not for me, it's not for Dalton, this channel is for Junior, because this is going to be our opportunity to give him a better and brighter future doing what he loves, and giving and showing and spreading the knowledge that he's gained, and sharing what he loves to do with other people. So I really got nothing else for y'all. I do have a coming up. I have a let's see what we just did artificials. The definite best bet to have artificials. I think maybe next Tuesday we will do a build your own rod holder. How's that sound? will make it so it'll fit in your wagon and it'll fit at home. And I got a really cool thing to go along with that. Alright, y'all. You know the drill. Keep them lines tight. Rods bent. Tight lines. Hook up.